like I'm
Feeling like what?
like I'm in my 80s.
Are you?
One of those days. Yes.
I am.
Yeah. Oh.
Uh,
Oh.
yeah, well, I woke up kind of feeling that way,
Yeah.
but I don't know exactly what it was. I slept pretty well,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Well, you know, we were up in the Cape for 3 days.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was sleeping in a bed that's not my own, so my back and my neck, you know.
Uh, ah, yes.
Yes. But we like to go up there in colder weather because there are no people.
as a matter of fact, one of my, I did kind of a week-long retreat I can't remember now. I think it was January or February on the Cape. There was nobody there.
Yeah.
Although I did go to a local bar one night, and there were some people there.
Yeah.
Not very many, but
Yeah.
a few. But I was staying on in a house that was close to the beach, and there wasn't much snow, but it was pretty cold. But I went walking on the beach, and actually it was a time. I'd have to say a time of real discovery and awakening for me.
Oh.
Was a really wonderful week, which I still remember as kind of turning my life in a good
Great.
direction.
Great.
So, yeah, I like the Cape when there are not so many people there. I used to go a lot, but I haven't gone now for years. We started going to Maine instead of.
Yeah, and we do try to. We'll see whether my wife wants to do it because we both got COVID up in Maine.
Oh, jeez.
Of all things, last summer, yeah.
Ah,
Uh, we rented a house right on the water, and we barely went anywhere. Out to eat a couple times in a week, and she came down with what she was describing as a sore throat that just kept getting worse and worse. And when we got home, she was going to call the doctor, and she said, "Well, I better check for COVID because they're going to ask me."
yeah.
And lo and behold, it was positive, and I said, "Oh dear, I guess I better also." And I took the test, and I was positive,
Yeah.
although my symptoms showed up just after that.
Yeah.
So she is, moral of the story is that she said, no more Maine.
That's not fair.
Maine gave me COVID.
That's not fair.
We went to escape.
And yeah, well, it just shows how prevalent that disease is.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
everywhere, and I feel incredibly lucky that I haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe I won't. Maybe I can manage to.
Well, one of Cynthia's friends went on a trip down to the tip of South America and then on a boat toward Antarctica. She wasn't going to disembark on Antarctica, but travel
Yeah.
around and maybe stop in an island and see some penguins. And 2 days before the end of the boat trip, she got COVID on the boat. And it's still going on. So, her disembarkment back into Argentina and then getting a flight, which is scheduled, but I don't know whether she'll be able to travel. But what an awful instance of
Yeah. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yes, it's still with us.
I know. I know. There's Jeffrey.
Yeah. People look at me when I show up in my mask,
Yeah.
but I'm going to show up in my mask in social situations.
You know, yesterday we went shopping and I forgot to put on my mask. I got home and I said, "What the hell was
Yeah. Yeah.
it?" But you know, almost nobody else is.
No, I mean there are a few, so I mean I don't
Yeah.
feel completely naked that
Yeah,
way.
no. Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
I mean, we went to a children's museum,
Mhm.
and with our grandkids, and I put on my mask, and I was the only one in there, but there were 100 kids running around with all, even if it's not COVID, yeah.
All the other things
All
they
the
were
other
carrying.
things, yes.
Absolutely. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning.
Morning, how are you? Hey, Bill.
Good. How are you?
Good.
Did your contractors do a good job?
Yes, you guys last week did a great job.
Good.
I still got stuff going on, not today, but a few more things that need to be done by contractors and a lot of things by us. The house goes on the market in 9 days,
Ah,
so down to the line. They come and take photos a week from today,
yeah.
uh, but at 1 o'clock, I think it is. That I got it scheduled for. So, yeah, just very, very hectic.
You're trying to pack at the same time?
Well, we're about to embark on that now. But Jesse was home from school last week with spring break, and he's a very, very healthy boy. He hasn't missed a day of school this year, but he got really sick last week. So he was home on spring break. Couldn't do anything with him. Couldn't go to a friend's house or go to the trampoline park or anything because he was so sick.
Oh, that's too
Now,
bad.
now he's back at school. Yeah, it was really rough. I've never seen him that sick.
Ah,
So it's been kind of hectic, and we're just now embarking on the whole packing routine. And I think I'm gonna get one of those like pods or pack rat things that you put your stuff in, and then move it over for you. I'm gonna do that, and then the second phase will be get movers to move the big stuff at the end.
yeah. And you're trying to work.
Oh yeah, of course. Still trying to work and all the other stuff that goes on around here.
Are you sleeping at all?
I never get that much sleep. I never have. Even dating back to when I was in Connecticut and I was doing ferret rescue and I had all kinds of ferrets to care for and all that. I just, anywhere from 4 to 6 hours a night is pretty much what I get and
Oh,
have
God.
for a very long time. I like getting more. Like actually last night I got 7 or 8. It was a rarity, but it's nice when I can do
Yeah.
it. So, yeah.
Oh,
You
well.
do what you can. You do what you can, and you get by. And grateful for every day, whatever it is.
Ah, well. Good. So, questions, reports. You're probably not doing as much practice as you'd like.
How did you guess?
That is true. Yes.
It is true for me too.
Are we ever doing as much practice as we would like?
That is also true. Yes. One point in my life, David, early in my Tai Chi career, many years ago, when I actually had a lot of time on my hand and I used to practice a lot, and it was great. So
Yeah.
I would ideally like to get back to there at some point in the not too distant future, but that's my goal.
Well, I hope you do.
Yeah.
It helps.
Oh yes, it was great. This is when I first started with you. The first couple of years, I had a lot of time for some
Yeah.
circumstances in my life, and I practiced a lot, and I progressed rapidly, and everything felt good, and it was a good way to start off my Tai Chi life.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Good. Well, actually, I wanted to talk about lengthening. I had mentioned it, I think, in our last class,
Yes,
and
you're recording, David.
yes, I am.
It sounds like it will be important.
Much to my amazement, I am.
Okay.
I had to look to make sure, but yes. So the primary purpose of lengthening is to release the nerves, which allows us to release um, tension in the muscles and the fascia and the ligaments, so that ultimately the entire body is able to lengthen out and lengthen in with intent, not by physically stretching, which actually tightens everything up. Um, it it is probably one of the even more counterintuitive things that we work on in Tai Chi, um, because that's kind of how it is in our Western thinking. We think about doing things, and lengthening is releasing and letting go. And it's um, we certainly start with thinking about the arms because that's the easiest place to work with. But lengthening actually moves through the entire body. We start with focus on the arms and then move down the spine, releasing the abdomen and the quad and the legs, all the way down through the feet. So lengthening actually eventually occurs throughout the entire structure, not just in the arms. But um, from my personal experience, I would say probably your arms are where you will feel it first. But you may be able to go further. Both of you will have enough experience that I think it's possible that you can um, feel beyond that uh, fairly quickly. Um, One of the easiest ways to work on this is with a partner exercise, which obviously I can't do with you, Jeff, um, since my arms are not long enough. But I can do it with Bill, and it is something that, um, in a way, you can do on your own. Have we done this before?
Probably just briefly.
Okay.
Um,
I just simply didn't remember for sure. So,
I will say that I've always, I mean, lengthening has come up a number of times, but
yeah,
I've imagined it as more of a physical rather than a nerve related thing. So when you said it starts with the nerves, that tilts the whole thing.
it does. It does tilt the whole
Yeah.
thing. One of the things, just one of the first things to do, is just to lift your arms up, and how easily can you let go? So Bill did pretty well. I don't know whether you could see, and certainly I'm not in a position to see what you're doing, Jeff, but there should be a swing to that if you let go completely. So that's a good step. The thing that really works to help develop the lengthening is jiggling the arms. And I don't know whether you remember doing this or not, but
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing is you have to let me have your arms.
Okay.
You know what I mean by that?
I say it again.
Let me have your arms.
Okay. Okay.
Release them, let them go entirely as much as you can. Ah, there they go. There they go. And then just shaking them. And if you're doing this by yourself, Jeff, the thing I would say is you can jiggle low. Let your arms hang down and jiggle. And what you want to do now is just to put your arm out and see if you can get that same release and feel the arm move out longer.
I don't know where my imagination kicks in.
Cut off your imagination.
Well,
So-
I mean, I think I feel a little something, but yeah.
So, one of the ways, of course, to work on this is to bring yourself to something that defines where you are, and then allow yourself to release and lengthen.
Yeah.
And then you can look at that. Well, so I lengthened 2 inches
2 inches, yeah.
about. So try that. So you have to move your hand forward or back in order to lengthen. Yeah. Well, yeah. So the as I was saying earlier, you want this to go much further in the body.
Mm.
So that I can jiggle you, but if you're by yourself, you really just have to kind of do that yourself.
Yeah.
And it's easy to do with the arms, but jiggling the rest of the body, and if you really get into this, this is really just a little bounce. You can begin to feel it starting to let go through other parts of your body. This doesn't work too well for the legs, but you can get a sense of releasing the spine and the abdomen. There.
Your grandkids could do this.
Oh, I know. Kids,
In fact, they do it all the time.
absolutely. The kids have no problem lengthening at all. It's just us, because we have gotten to where we are constantly holding.
Yeah.
That's part of our natural state.
Holding scores of years of things.
Right, scores of years of things, and learning to release all of it through the whole body. Because you can feel it go right down through the legs and the feet eventually. I'm not expecting you to do that right this moment.
Okay.
Do you have any question, Jeff?
No, not right now. I'm just trying to experience this, and then I'm feeling a little bit.
Okay. So when we take this into the 8 gates standing, we're going to do some specific exercises with this, and we're going to let go of the pulsing for a while. And you might want to
Yeah.
move a little bit there. So I'm turning sideways, and I'll change my camera so that you can see more of what I'm doing.
You know, that actually felt quite good for my back.
Yeah.
Let it go. My lower back has been a little bit tight and sore this morning, and actually feels
Well, good. It does when you can learn to do this. So we step out, and when we begin, we actually are going to start from a sense of probably lengthening out a little. So just taking a moment and getting that sense of release and allowing yourself not to stretch, but to just release and let everything lengthen and relax and let go. And then as you begin, you're going to lengthen in. And so come halfway up and pause a moment and have that, try to have that sense that you have lengthened in, and that's not forcing in, but allowing it to lengthen in. And then lengthening out as you come up, and again pausing and really letting everything release, getting a sense of that expansion through the whole body, not with force, but with intention, so that you can just let things let go. And then lengthening in, and just pause and feel that halfway down. And then lengthen out. Try to really let go of the tension. Remember that this is intended to release the nerves. So if you're tight, that gets in the way. And then lengthen in, let that elasticity come in. And then go out. And just feel that release. If you can let go of your spine, your abdomen, your your legs, everything may release a little bit more as you do each part of that. And then lengthening in, and out, and release. Remember to breathe. Letting go all the way down through your feet. And then lengthening in, and then lengthening out. And then lengthening in. And lengthening out. Feel the spine let go. Feel the hips relax and the quad open. Feel the lengthenings go right down through your legs. And then lengthening in. And lengthening out. And lengthening in. And lengthening out. Letting go. And then lengthening in. Lengthening out. Lengthening in. And lengthening out. So what did you feel?
I felt a lot of rooting.
Oh, good.
Rooting. Can you talk a little bit more about lengthening in?
it's somewhat like the the sense of a rubber band. It's the sense of when you lengthen out that you've stretched the rubber band. And when you lengthen in, all you have to do is release it, and it comes in. You're not pushing in.
Right, but we're not stretched out, we're released out.
You're released out, which causes an extension, which
Right.
naturally releases in.
Okay.
You don't sound like you believed me.
Well, it's not believing you. It's trying to envision what my mind intent is going to be. And I've
Yeah.
already released out, and releasing in to me, I'm not really sure what I'm envisioning the energy doing.
So when you're releasing out, the energy's going out, and when you're releasing in, it's drawing the energy in.
But when we release out, we are releasing any tension, and when we release in, hopefully there isn't any tension to release.
So ultimately, tension doesn't come into it at all.
Okay.
It's not a matter of releasing tension, it's simply a matter of lengthening out and lengthening in.
We're lengthening out, we're opening up everything, we're letting it all relax and stretch naturally without using muscles.
Yep. So,
In my mind, coming back together means we're
yeah,
not.
so you're stuck at the physical level at the moment.
Yes, yes. That's what I need to get past.
Yeah, Exa- exactly. So um, we have to start with that physical level because that's the first awareness, the easiest awareness for us to
Right,
have.
right,
Um, but ultimately, lengthening is just part of the process that we're doing, not an action to release tension. Because ultimately, ideally, we arrive at the point where there is no tension to release.
right. Okay.
So you are um, excuse me, I just need to
So,
I'm waiting for a phone call. Hello. Hi. Right. Okay, great. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you very much. Bye.
so releasing in and out, we're really what we are trying to do is through our mind intent and all, more so than our physical actions, is just lengthening in, is bringing the energy in. Lengthening
Yes,
out is
ultimately, yes.
all the time through a relaxed body.
So there is a physical action that's going on with this, obviously,
Right.
um, because it is my description of it being like a rubber band is, in a way, is it's both accurate and misleading, in that yes, that's kind of what it's like. It's when you lengthen out, the body naturally will lengthen back in. Um, but at the same time, when you talk about a rubber band, there's force involved,
Right.
which we're trying to let go of. So that's really just the sense that of the fact that when you lengthen out, that the body naturally will lengthen back in. It's not that you have to um, cause it to happen other than with your intent. That still didn't clarify enough for you, did it?
Well, it's a better understanding. I'm gonna have to ponder it a little bit more and work with it and try and feel it and see how it goes.
Yeah. Do you have a question?
Uh, Things are floating around my head. Yeah. One of them is that when we dissolve, we're getting rid of a tension or something.
Yeah.
Um, but that it's obviously not lengthening.
No, but
It
that
enables.
that could contribute to being able to
Yeah,
lengthen.
okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's talking about dissolving an energetic blockage,
Right.
um, which certainly could get in the way of fully being able to lengthen.
Yeah.
And so the one way deal with that is to, if you have that, is to dissolve that blockage, uh, which may take a while. And you can do that while you're doing um, the 8 gates.
But when you refer to being able to fully lengthen, you're referring to your whole body being in a state of being relaxed and opened and lengthened, legs, back, arms, neck, all of it.
Yes.
Okay. How successful are you yourself at doing that at this point? Just out of curiosity.
Um, I am able to feel it all the way through my body, to the extent that I can feel the energy flow out of my feet and back in.
Right.
So pretty well. I wouldn't say that I've arrived at what the maximum of what I'm capable of doing, but
Right.
I have gotten pretty open. At this point,
Right.
which is a good thing.
Mm.
I'm not sure how many more years I have to practice. Maybe a lot.
Yeah.
You never
Gotta be
know.
optimistic. Gotta be optimistic. Okay. Well,
Go ahead.
One other quick question,
Yeah.
because Jeff's not doing gods, but in 5,
Hmm.
when we go to 60% or 70%, is that a process of lengthening in?
No,
No.
that's a condensing, and the lengthening would happen outside of that.
Okay. Okay.
And that's a difficult, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm trying
That's a-
to separate things that are close to each other,
Yeah.
at least in my mind at this point. Yeah.
And that's an interesting interesting one. We could talk about that. Bill has another problem because he's doing gods, and another issue with one of the postures in that. So, um,
so is lengthening, I mean, essentially, tell me if this is correct thinking or not, but in my mind, lengthening really goes back to the very early things we learned in Tai Chi, where it was, be like a steel rod encased in cotton, where you're all soft and loose and energetically flowing on the outside, but strong on the inside. Is lengthening the part
well,
where we
that's really referring to energy, not
But it's a
necessarily.
state of being where we're lengthening and we're relaxed and soft and letting the energy flow on the outside.
Absolutely. Well, and that's, of course, one of the lessons that we learn as we go along, is that the only way for the energy to flow is if we can
Right.
learn to release and open up,
Yeah.
that we can't make the energy flow. It just
Right. So we've been
doesn't.
striving towards this pretty much since day one. We're just giving it a name and focusing on it more deeply now.
Yep,
Okay.
yep, absolutely.
All right.
No other questions at the moment?
Oh, no, not really, but yeah, just things floating around. I mean, the 5 points, getting the energy to the extremities,
And that's absolutely.
yeah.
So, have we haven't done that in this class
That's
yet.
God's, yeah.
Yeah. Um, one of the things that we had worked on in Gods that Bill was raising is, when we're working with center to periphery flow of the energy, that you're trying to get an equal awareness of the the flow of the energy to the toes, the fingers, and the crown of the head.
Right.
What's referred to as the 5 points.
Oh, okay.
And that's and obviously that's directly related to lengthening
Hmm.
and to everything else we do, but certainly to lengthening. Because without lengthening, that's not going to happen, or it will happen unevenly. And what you're
Hmm.
looking for is that that flow ultimately is equally strong at the feet, the hands, and the head.
Right.
Um, and that's and certainly lengthening is a part of achieving that.
Okay.
In order for it to be experienced on the fifth point at the top of the head, I would assume that we have to be able to really release the neck and let it lengthen and relax and all.
Release the
That's that one.
spine. Release the spine. Yes.
Okay.
But remember that in the Chinese concept, the top end of the spine is the crown of the head. It's not the base of the neck.
Oh, okay.
So, for instance, when doing the Taoist spine stretch, which we
Right.
worked on
Yeah.
a little bit, um, you know that you're um, doing it effectively when you complete it and you feel energy, if not actually movement, at the top of your head.
Hmm. Right.
Absolutely. And again, lengthening is certainly a part of that. Um, so, so lengthening is also happening in the form.
Hmm.
Wow.
Big surprise, I know. um, so we're going to just look at the first two or three things in the form um,
Right.
and think about that. And we'll do kind of what we did with the 8 gates, starting and stopping. Let me see where I'm going here.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Boy, I seem to be particularly blind today. Some days are worse than others. So, one of the things that we certainly, I think I've mentioned, but I'm not sure that we've really focused on it, partially because we haven't taken the year to learn opening and closing. But you can certainly begin to think about it, because as you stand doing this form in particular, before you actually move, we actually are going to open and close, and it's a small movement. Now, I'm doing it without lifting the arms. So I'm opening the joints and allowing everything to lengthen out and lengthen in. And this is one of the interesting things about this form, is that this is the beginning of this form. Unlike the Yang, which doesn't have any movement like this before there is some physical movement. And when you begin to move, you're going to begin with actually a lengthening in. And then a lengthening out. And pause at the end of pump. So your vertical, the hands are 70% extended, rotated slightly outward, and you're lengthening out. You're releasing. And then as you go in to G, you have a lengthening in and a lengthening out. And then as you go through Lu, you have a lengthening in, which continues at the beginning of on, and then you have a lengthening out. So that, of course, goes right along with the bending and extending and the twisting in and twisting out. So they're all coordinated together. All of that is working together at the same time. But instead of, as we were perhaps doing previously, we were using the muscles to go out and in and out and in and out. Now we want to do it through letting it happen because of our intent and because of the moving of the energy. So, thinking of that first movement right now as a lengthening in and a lengthening out, which may be a way that you can begin to feel this, because you can certainly feel the arms at least doing that. And if you can let it extend through the spine, or even the pelvis and legs, but it is happening through the whole body eventually. One of the things is not to tense up the feet. That gets in the way. And then when you begin lengthening in, step and lengthen out, in, out, in, out, in. As you turn, you're lengthening in. Step and lengthen out. Lengthen in and out. Lengthen in and lengthen out. Nothing to it.
No, but different.
Different. Good. So, I like you just to do that about 5 times and just feel it. See what you feel. So, what what did you feel? What questions, thoughts?
Well, at this stage at least, that helps keep everything small.
Yes, it did, didn't it? And I noticed that for Jeff too.
I had trouble standing, opening and closing. The arms, shoulders, but I couldn't coordinate the rest of my body doing the same thing. If I let my arms alone and concentrated on my pelvic girdle, then I could do the pelvic girdle. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get them all in sync. All the areas in sync.
Yeah, I think that's a matter of practice.
Actually, I mean, my body seemed confused. I was opening here and closing.
Whoops. One of the things when you start working on lengthening in the form is not to lose the intention of the postures. Because we have this sense that lengthening is releasing and letting go, and all of a sudden the posture doesn't have the intention of what it's supposed to be doing if you were dealing with somebody.
Yeah.
So that has to remain also. Just part of the difficulty. How about you, Jeff? What did that feel like for you?
Definitely different in how I was doing the postures.
Mm-hmm.
A problem that, and maybe it's more of a problem than I think it is, but, or maybe it's not as much of a problem as I think it is, but I feel like when I was moving with more so with lengthening than with muscles, that I was losing the connection and the roundness and the openness with my scapula. I feel like I was getting pretty good relaxation and opening and flow through my arms, but it kind of didn't go through, and I didn't have the same openness and roundness that I have when I'm not focusing on lengthening.
Yeah.
Is it, did you see anything like that in what I was doing?
Um, no, I can't say that I did, um, particularly, but I think that will come back. I think that it's a matter of when we can use our muscles and focus on our elbows, we can make our scapula do whatever we want them to do.
Right.
And so uh, we can successfully accomplish that. Discovering that we can use our intent and achieve the same thing is a little, again, counterintuitive.
Mm.
But you you can eventually can make that connection um, perfectly well. So yeah, this introduces a little more subtlety and complexity to what we're working on.
Right. Yeah.
Um, Other thoughts or questions at the moment?
Not at the moment. That was the main thing I got out of those. What we just did was that I feel like I was making progress up through here, but it kind of ended here. So I
Uh-huh.
may work on that then in my practice. incorporate the scapula and get those into the whole
Yeah,
ring.
and I think to to remember all the things that we've talked about so far, and there are more if we want to do more. Uh, but that all of it works together to accomplish
Mm,
the movement.
right.
Yeah, we're focusing on lengthening at the moment, but um, it is the combination of everything that really functions um, ultimately together to accomplish our end, our goal of moving the energy and massaging the organs and
Right.
releasing the nerves and all of the various things that are going on as we do this.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to leave you with that at the moment.
Yeah, as with each thing that we add, there's a hyper focus
Yeah,
to begin with until it
until it
merges with the rest.
integrates. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you
And
have
then
to.
you get, go
It's
ahead.
it's back to that basic principle of separate and then combine. You you can't you can't do all these things learn all these things at once. You have to learn them one at a time, and then gradually integrate it as you are able to do. And it's different for everybody. But you guys are doing very well. So have a good week. Try to practice if you can. Uh,
Yep. Whenever
and
possible.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, whenever possible, for
Yep.
sure.
As Master Joe said, make a little progress every day.
Yep.
And
Right.
then it's not a big deal.
Right.
Um, I also like Bill Bryan's suggestion of only commit to practicing 1 minute a day.
Huh.
If you really practice for a minute, you'll get something. And if you practice for a minute, often you'll find you want to do a little bit more.
It's like Lay's potato chips,
Yes,
yes.
absolutely.
That's quite a
You
good analogy.
you get a taste, and I
Right.
like a little bit more of that. um, but if you tell yourself that you've got to do 2 hours of practice every day, you're not going to do it.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and that always makes me think about Yang Cheng Fu insisted that his sons had to do 10 repetitions of their forms every day, plus other practice. And one of his sons, who was extremely highly developed, eventually committed suicide.
Huh.
So, um, being forced to practice is not necessarily the way to go, but committing to doing a little bit. Um, I find, I will say, I have days when, with everything else, I don't really practice during the day, but I will try to do a little bit before I go to bed,
Hmm.
just to have done something. Um, and this short form doesn't take any time to do.
Right.
Doesn't take long to. You're not going to
Right.
lose a lot of sleep by running through the form. So just throw out some thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
Yep.
We'll
Yeah,
see you. We'll see you next.
hopefully, if I have any problems, I'll let you know as soon as possible as far as making classes in the next month
Well,
or two.
yeah, I understand.
I try and arrange things such that I don't miss this class, but some things are unavoidable.
Yeah,
So,
I can understand that. Oh, your little dog was so cute coming in and just finding a place to watch
yeah,
you.
it's so interesting, David. She likes the energy when we're doing this. She's very, as most animals are, she's very intuitive and in tune with energy and all that. She
Yeah,
likes it. She
yeah,
enjoys. Yeah, a lot of times when I'm doing the form, she tries to be around my feet,
yeah.
like to hang around where I'm doing it. So,
Even Curry used to try to do that.
yeah,
He was pretty blocking as far as.
yeah, he was quite a bit bigger than Bambi is too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, indeed.
okay,
Well, have a good week.
all right, take
Give
care, guys.
Jesse a hug.
I will do that. Thanks.
Alrighty, bye.
And I will see you tomorrow morning.